Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I have the 1/9 scale FondJoy DC Studios Superman action figure to review for you. This fella comes in a spiffy box. I always like the packaging for these FondJoy figures. I like the big DC logo up in the corner there. You got David Corenswett right there, nice big image of him. This is just such beautiful looking packaging. On the side, Superman 1/9 scale action figure with all the appropriate logos. Same thing on the other side. And then the top and the bottom have nothing. And then on the back, we have some imagery of the figure along with a bunch of other stuff. Opening this guy up, and just a side note, I love the fact that these boxes, these resealable boxes, have little magnets in them. I love that. You can see we got the figure and he's inside of his bubble. And you can also see the two cryptos right here on the side. That means this one is the deluxe version, because the deluxe version is the one that came with the cryptos, with two cryptos. And of course, there is another layer of stuff down below. So now that we've got this far, let me just get everything out of the package and looking pretty right in front of you, and I'll be back in just one moment. Okay, and we're back. We have everything laid out in front of us. Let's take a quick peek at everything before we get Superman up on the spinner. So first off, we have this fantastic Daily Planet press pass, Clark Kent, journalist of international politics. And it's also got a back too. So there's details on the front and the back. This is not cardboard. It's like a plastic of some kind, really thin, but it is like a plastic. And you'll notice that you can actually pop that out, and this can actually be put onto a lanyard of some kind. Supes also has this extra interchangeable set of kind of relaxed hands, you know, like his hands are maybe at his side or whatever, as well as this set of open flight hands. I like how they positioned the thumb like that. So he's got these. He's also got the flight crypto, and this actually was a separate piece here. This is a little crypto flight stand that you just stick in the hole in Crypto's rib cage there. You just plunk it in the hole, and then you have crypto on a stand, a flight crypto, and then we have a regular crypto just kind of standing there, looking like a dog. We have the Superman figure, of course. I really love these colors just to start with. And we have the action figure stand. And this base has articulation down here, in the middle, at the top. You got these little grabby claws. It can rotate. So this arm actually is, I would say, pretty useful. So that is everything that we got on the inside of the package. That's not a bad haul, actually. The fact that I got two cryptos, the press pass, that's pretty fantastic. I mean, you expect this to stand and you expect the extra hands, but it is nice that we got two cryptos and we got the interesting little press pass. So here is our first view of the first crypto Poochamaku up on the spinner, Superman's Doggaroo. Just going around there, I wanted to give you guys a little peek at him before I got the other crypto up on the spinner so you could get an idea of exactly what we're dealing with here. And here is the basic standing crypto, looking, well, doggish. Looking doggone adorable is what he's looking. And it is nice that we got both of these cryptos, because when you're posing your figure around, you can pull out the appropriate crypto to be posed alongside your Superman based on the poses he's on. Looks good. Got the cape draped down. Looks pretty fantastic. I like this very much. Why don't we take a look at each of these cryptos in hand starting now? So the flight crypto has this base right here, and you just stick it up in his ribs and it holds him up, makes him look like he's flying. As I've mentioned previously, here's a look at Crypto's cape as it dangles down. Does the cape move? No, because the cape for Crypto is actually attached right into the back of the dog, all the way along his spine there. But it is nice looking. It's kind of a softish rubber. It's not hard. I mean, you can see that I'm bending it. Would it have been better if it was cloth? Of course. because they're always better when they're cloth. But in the same token, this isn't really an action figure. Oh my God, can I turn his head? I can turn Crypto's head. He has a little bit of doggy articulation there. And he also has another piece of articulation, that being his mouth. You can open up Crypto's mouth and he can look like a good boy with his tongue kind of, well, not really out, but kind of out. His tongue doesn't really disappear, does it? Even when you close his mouth. The face doesn't look too bad for Crypto. And he's got that ear hanging out like that. You've got his Crypto collar with the Superman emblem there. I think that they did a pretty good job on this. And then here we have what I think a lot of people would consider to be the basic Crypto. So he's not flying, he's not doing nothing, he's just standing there in a neutral dog standing there pose. Again, the cape is kind of like that rubberish material. It goes into his back like that, so there's no chance on moving it. He has the neck articulation, got the ear that sticks up. You got all of the same basic details with the collar and the emblem. This one's mouth opens too, so he can look all adorable with his mouth open, barking away and chasing fire hydrants. And no one chases fire hydrants, chasing fire trucks. That's what I meant to say. And you got the eyes are painted pretty neat. Like, this is pretty good. Let's compare it, first off, close up to McFarlane's. I think McFarlane's is actually not bad for what it is. It really isn't bad for what it is. Does the one from FondJoy, is it better? Well, of course it is. But that's because it's a more expensive figure. And technically, this one from McFarlane has the cloth goods cape. So in some ways, it actually is a better Crypto than the new one. But that's what they look like side by side, just standing there. And here we have David Corenswett Soups up on the spinner to just get a quick look at how this guy looks. I love how deep the details are and crisp they are. The red, the blue, and the yellow are fan-friggin-tastic. I love how bright they are. Getting a peek at that cape really gives me a lot of hope that we're in for something really quite nice with this cape. So yeah, I am so far pretty stoked at this guy just looking at him. And just before we move on to the hands-on part of the review with this David Corenswett Superman action figure, I wanted to bring in the McFarlane Toys version of the same character, just to give you a side-by-side comparison of what McFarlane's price range will get you in comparison to what FondJoy's price range will get you. And honestly, for the price, McFarlane's figure still stands up as a fantastic Superman action figure. But if you buy the FondJoy, you are getting a figure that is slightly bigger and also has some of the details a little bit more accurately fleshed out. Where the McFarlane Soups has no texture for the red and the yellow of its S, and the belt itself on the inside here has no texture whatsoever. David Corenswett Superman, well, his actually has the appropriate texture that is supposed to be there. Although I will say that the red that they painted across mine right here in the chest could have been painted a little bit more thoroughly. I'm going to have to touch that up myself. And the belt area for this FondJoy version is actually a little bit more accurate as far as the sculpted details go as well. Another place where McFarlane's Superman doesn't quite get it right is the attachment of the cape to the neck. And I'm okay with this. Like, I'm fine with this. But I do know that it is not accurate. That's not how the cape would have attached in the movie. That's not how it did attach in the movie. It really was more of an attachment like this. So I gotta give FondJoy points for doing some of these fine details a little bit more correctly. And overall, it's just a beautiful figure. Like, all of the details on this guy are perfect. And they're really, really inlaid into the figure. Like, I can feel the details, but they're not too big. They're not ugly looking. Like, this looks like the movie to me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this really looks like the movie to me. I am super, super stoked with what FondJoy did here with this Superman. When you look at his cape, you can see that they've actually printed on the logo to the back of his cape, like so, and that looks pretty good. You can see the shading up here and up here. And I'm not sure if this is accurate, but they do have treads on the bottom of Superman's boots. I will say right off the bat that the cape feels really nice. It's a really soft material. I really, really like it. And they've sewed the pleats into the cape. Now this side looks really good. And then this side, as you can see, looks like kind of a mess. I really don't know what they were doing here and why it didn't work out, but I'm going to have to fix that myself and make that look better. And as wired capes go, it's not super useful. I'm going to have to modify this because the wires actually, here, let me just zoom in a little bit so you can see it. The wires actually don't go right down into the slots for the cape. The wires actually end, I'm not sure if you can see that sharp curve there, the sharp turn right here. They actually end before they go in there, which means getting his cape up here to pose up is a non-starter. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to be able to get this cape to do a lot. And I was really hoping to be able to get this cape into some pretty awesome poses, but it just seems that they fall short of knowing how to do a wired cape, I guess. As for the face, did they get it right? Does this look good? Does this look like David Corenswett? I think that they did good enough. I think this looks enough like the man behind the costume, the man behind the spit curl, although this one doesn't have a spit curl. And I feel like they didn't put it in there because maybe they were thinking he was flying, so his spit curl would be up. Man, that spit curl is so important. We need that spit curl here because that was something that they decided to do with this version of Superman, and we haven't seen it in a long time. Tyler Hoechlin didn't have it. Henry Cavill never really had it, and I think it's important that they sculpted that on here, and they missed that part. But overall, I do think that this looks fairly good, fairly like David Corenswett. All right, so next comes almost the most important part for some people, and that would be the articulation, because we haven't done anything yet. I don't even know. It's not like I know and I've been holding it from you. I don't know either. So let's find out. His head and neck are articulated together, and so he can look down about that. He can look up about that. And his neck moves, like I said, and his head moves. So that could be better and it could be worse. It's like mid. His torso, you can hear that. It's very tight. But it does have a pretty good range of motion. Look at that. Look at that down motion. That's actually pretty good. What does he get back? What does he get back? But not as much back. They either get it one way or they get it the other way. Why can't a lot of these figures have it both ways? I'm really trying. That's what he gets. Okay. All right. And then the waist, of course, is going to be 360. And when you take the waist and you take the ab crunch, well, that's really good. I like that. Looks kind of weird with the trunks, but it is a very good range of motion. Then we have his arms, and I just pulled it right off. I didn't break it, but I pulled it right out. So just so you know, let's be a little bit careful there. And even though it's not broken, there's nothing broken there. I can't get it to go back in. I wonder why that is. Nope, that doesn't move at all. So how am I supposed to get this to go back into there and not come out? I didn't even do that much to it. That is unnerving. Okay, well, I'm going to turn this. I hope it doesn't fall off. Okay, then we have the elbow, double jointed elbow. Does pretty good. We have the wrists with the rounded hinge. And what I'll do is after the articulation, I'll get his arm back on and then I'll finish the video. Down here, we have 2 rounded ball joints in the groin. They are drop hinges, which is very good. And they rotate a lot in place of a thigh cut. We have double jointed knees. Those are really nice. And these go out and they go forward quite a bit because of the drop hinges. Not bad. And then we have the ankles, which are, they're ball jointed. They are on ball joints, so they're going to pivot all around, as well as having the toe articulation. Okay, so let me just go and figure out how to get his arm back on here nice and tight, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I got it back on. It was a little tricky at first, but how they have put this arm together is that you have the elbow piece right here, and then what plugs into the bicep up here actually goes all the way up, and the bicep slides, it sheaths on top of that piece. You know what I mean? Like you've got the elbow piece right here, and then the plug that goes up inside of this goes all the way up. And this is its own separate piece, and it slides down on top of this hinge here, like that. So once I figured that out, it actually wasn't that hard to put this thing back together. Not at all. So now what do I think about this FondJoy David Corenswett Superman action figure of the 1/9 scale variety? Honestly, I really, really like it. I do have to dock Marks, unfortunately, because he doesn't have his spit curl, and he should, because that was prominent in the movie. And his wired cape is kind of useless until I go ahead and fix it and stuff the wires inside the body. And I really wish I didn't have to be so careful with that bicep, but now I'm all like, man, every time I move him, his bicep is going to come off and I'm going to have to put it back on. That might not be the case, but I really wish it didn't come off in the first place. But I definitely think it's a figure worth buying, especially if you're a fan of Superman, and especially if you're a fan of the new movie that stars David Corenswett. Anyway, that's all for me. Thank you so much for watching. It means the world to me, and I will see you all with the next one. Have a DC day, everybody, and take care.